God, iconic duels are just such an awesome thing to see. Pen and paper, a classic. Chud father and Chud son. If only there was a duel for grapplers that was as iconic.
Something wrong. Back me up!
Oh hey, the opening skit.
My loyal fans! Hey, hey. 任務を遂行する。終わりだ。Fast!
Today's video is a little bit different if you couldn't tell. It's been a while since we've done a grab, so I'm looking forward to this one as these two got me excited. Before talking about what's got me excited, it's important to talk about the game instead of getting into the grapplers. You need to know how they play in the goddamn game they're in. BBTAG is a 2v2 fighting game. Not common you'll see this type of pairing. And it does something that's a little bit unholy. They combine tag fighter mechanics with anime mechanics. Now that's a recipe for a hell of a game. Get too into it, but this is a 5-button fighter. 3 buttons being used for your normal attacks, 1 being more of a tag assault type option, and 1 being your drive button. This will use a ton of your drive actions, like doing tag into tag for example, or your burst for example, your DP. All sorts. This is used for a lot. And then you've got the tag button, which is used for assists, either being forward, down, or back. Every character has 3 assists to work with. And there's a thing you can do when bringing out your assists. You can link your assists into assists, or you can even go back and forth between your guys to create suffocating sandwich pressure with the active tags. And you need 1 bar to activate the cross combo. The bar at the bottom here is basically your tag actions. You need this to do tag things like breaking out of combos with a burst. And again, the cross combo, this is the main mechanic of the game. Being able to link assists into assists and then the active tag for sandwiches. This is the main mechanic of the game. You need to get this down to play the game. But the other meter is used for something else. This is where your supers or specials are going to come from. You need 1 for EXs and you need 2 for supers, and the meter can build up to a ton. Also, deep thing, every character just has a DP, by the way. You can spend the bar to just wake up with a DP. Every character has this. It is character specific though, like some characters' DPs are better than others, but everyone has a DP. Lastly, you've got a comeback mechanic. When you're down to your last guy, you'll use the tag actions, but of course you can't tag in a teammate, so what do? You gain access to an install that goes up on levels depending on the health point, I believe. And this is an insane tool, by the way. It'll let you do so much as the last guy. Your grey health starts coming back. Your normals do chip damage. Your meter slowly regenerates. It's nothing but positives when you get this activated, as it allows for nothing but a comeback. In the last 15 seconds, hell of an install I have access to, I'll tell you that much. So even if you're down to your last guy, you still got a chance. Now that you know the key things are needed a bit lengthier than usual because this is an insane tag fighter and it's important to know these things, it's time for our dynamic duo! And these are names that I've created: the Electric Claws, Magnetism of Slashing, I like that one more, Iron Tiger, Waldstein!
Yeah.
So again, as off to the get-go, why in the hell would you want to play these 2 characters together? If you've played any tag fighter, you know the worst thing that you could do is put 3 of the same archetype on the same team unless they're a show. For example, you don't want 3 zoners, you don't want 3 grapplers, you know what I'm saying? Well, there was a specific player that made this duo work and actually got me very excited to make this video. I'm not gonna lie, Gideon was just all like, oh dude, check this shit out, and I was all like, I am checking this shit out. To get into their characters, Waldstein uses his big meaty claws to slash away at the opponent, represent strike throw, and just kind of go hog wild with the attacks. He has nothing but reach on him. He wants to bully the opponent down into the corner until they eventually break under the pressure, not becoming a diamond, but becoming dust. And Iron Tiger, the king of magnetism.
Come again?
Brother, your game releases in a week. I'll play you then. He'll pull his opponent in to represent some strong strike throw as electricity and metal bends to his will. He's super slow, but with magnetism, that offense becomes broken. You can't get away if I pull you in tight mentality. And in terms of the story, we'll not get into that because this is a tag fighter. We're here for fun. We're not here for character lore and backstory. Waldstein will get that in his own video. Don't worry about it. And I've already covered Tiger. Check it out. But it's toolkit time. So this is a weird one. This is the first time I've ever had to break down 2 grapplers in the one video. So how do we go about this? Well, this is what I'm going to do in today's video. I'm going to break down the grapplers individually and tell you what they do when they're together. And to get started off, we'll talk about Iron Tager, and he's very different compared to his entry in BBCF. Tager still keeps a lot of the things for the most part. He's super close range with stubby normals, making it hard for him to poke and really play a neutral game plan. But he's more of the close range monster between these two, as when he gets in, he is certainly a lot stronger. But in terms of mobility, he is lacking in air dash, and it's very slow for him to get across the screen. He doesn't have dashing, he doesn't have running like majority of the cast. And like we said, with his buttons, his neutral isn't that great. Poking is a hell of a task for Tager, but what he can do is represent a lot of his get-ins. He can slam his way in with Sledge as he just powers through, able to tank mids and highs and projectiles to represent that nasty offense we know Tager for, and if he gets a hit, I believe counter hit, decent confirm. But here's the insane thing about Tager in this game, and any Tager experts that have never played this game will be shocked. Magnetism. Iron Tager can pull in the opponent with a lot of his B normals and his command grabs, as you guys may know when you apply magnetism. But I know what you're thinking, how does he apply magnetism? He doesn't. Opponent will always be pulled in no matter what, meaning you don't have to do the set play of magnetism, you have nothing but the rewards of magnetism. The opponent will always come towards you, unlike a BBCF, so his command grabs in the air, grounded, or his B normals will always pull in, and you don't need to set up nothing. You don't have to apply magnetism to get the rewards of BBCF when you need to apply it. And I know what you're also thinking, then what the hell does Gadget Finger do? Mixes. That's about it. It just does mixes. It leaves the opponent in the distance where you can poke away, chase, beta block, anything like that, and super command grab does reach pretty close, so it's not easy to escape that. You get raw mix and you don't gotta apply shit. Welcome to playing Iron Tager and BBTAG. And I know you're also thinking, where did this spark bolt gauge go? And you don't have to say that. Dude, you're gonna keep asking questions? I'm trying to explain it to you. Spark Bolt disappeared, but he now uses his Spark Bolt answers with the universal meter mechanics. Using one bar will allow him to use the Spark Bolt as a projectile that will beat any projectile. You'll win neutral and you'll get started, that's all that matters. And his mix is still everything that you'd expect. His command grab still pulls in the opponent, does a decent bit of damage, and leaves the opponent standing with Gadget Finger afterwards. The Wedge Catapult is a pretty good answer to opponents that need to be very mash heavy, so you'll pull them in, avoid them with the iframes, and then of course get a huge combo. And the Super Tager Buster is insanely good in this game, being done both in the air or on the ground will do huge amounts of damage. This is where the money's at, right? You see that basket, you see that cash basket, every time you land that, whoo! Nothing but good times with it. But in this game, people wanted to jump a ton on defense. That was the key answers. Chicken blocking was pretty good, and it was kind of hard to call out jumpers. What does Tager do well? He has an air throw and an anti-air yoink. And as we know, he always applies magnetism, so he's always getting the jumper if he goes for that air throw or the yoink. And here's the other insane thing. Never mind not needing to apply magnetism, the command grab is no longer a full circle, meaning that you'll never have the misinput incidents that most grapplers come across. As it's only a quarter circle back, it's an easy input, you could do this in your sleep, so Tager Buster wasn't difficult to do. Tager is without a doubt strike throw focus between these two. He is nothing but offense, and his defense is really good, as he had one of the better DPs in the game. If I was to say Tager was the throw, then moving on to Waldstein, I would say he's the strike. He is the reach that Tager needs to get started. Like Tager, his movement speed is also super slow. He doesn't move anywhere very fast, but what he does to have that makes up for it is an air dash. His mobility is good, but his tools like movement speed isn't that good. So he does have the approaches, he does have that over Tager. And talking about fat normals, his normals are beast. These normals reach really far and do a ton of good work. Being in the air or grounded, it doesn't matter, he has a poke for every scenario. Jay, for example, is a fantastic reaching poke that's good for air and hits the opponent grounded while they're still on the ground. This instant overhead hits the opponent grounded. That's what I'm trying to say, this is that's insane. And if you want a long range poke to either interrupt the opponent or to stop them using projectiles, 236B does a ton. That's core circle forward B for anyone that doesn't know. does so much as he approaches with free swipes, both deleting projectiles and hitting the opponent. This is very good. And standing C is pretty good as you get the team up beatdown. It's very good as he hops over stuff, allowing him to beat projectiles with a hop, and then poking away with a huge normal, and Tager will show up as they do the team up. It's very cool seeing the grappler do a team up. I'm not gonna lie, this is hype to me. So what does Waldstein do for Mix? Because as you can tell, these two, he's definitely a bit more of a neutral monster. Well, he is also a grappler, so it's not a bad idea to go for strike throw. Simple as, you've got good close normals, you've got a good low and overhead, and you've got a good command grab. Represent all these options on him. His main goal, like any other character in a fighting game, was to bully the opponent into the corner, because just like his longer reaching command grabs will always connect because you can't escape from him, and he gains access to his next mix up, which is deadly and really safe, his instant overhead. Waldstein had an instant overhead using JA, making his jump ins nasty to deal with, because not only could he stagger away and use an assist to make this safe, he could then land and threaten a low, or jump again, or do a throw. His mix-up was way more deadlier than Tager's, but it comes with the caveat of less damage. So if you needed a mix machine, Waldstein was your guy. If you realised doing the coin flip didn't work, well, you needed a four-sided coin. That's the answer. He's the four-sided coin. That's the way to put it. I feel like Waldstein is the glue for this team, right? Tager represents everything that's needed with a ton of weaknesses, and Waldstein covers a decent bit of the weaknesses. He also has a really cool super, but I swear I've seen that before. And just like he's banned in Brazil. These characters are sick, but here's the thing. How do they work together? These are two grapplers, two of the same archetype, so they don't really cover each other's weaknesses. Well, they actually do quite decently, but not to an insane degree. In terms of going point, it wasn't a bad idea to put either of these characters on the point, the face of the team. Why? Because Tager had nothing but mixes in a tough time with neutral, but Waldstein was a team player, giving nothing but good assists, so even if Tager had a bad time with it, he could cover him. Waldstein, it wasn't a bad idea to put him on point, as he had the reach and offense to get in, and Tager's assists were a bit more slower. Him going point for Tager to actually get in afterwards with the assist to set up offense wasn't a bad idea either. But one thing that you might want for Tager to be on point over Waldstein is that Tager has better defense, having armored tools to escape a bad scenario, and not only that, a DP that's way better than most does so much. Its defense is strong. Now it'll allow you to set up for, of course, putting him in the corner and then setting up Waldstein to do what he does best. So either or, point, anchor, doesn't matter, they both do a good job at it. But one thing these two do when they're together is insane amounts of damage. This team is up there for the highest amounts of damage that you could do in this game. Besides that one team with Azale and the other guy that's like Slayer, they do a ton. They do a ton. Waldstein can be lacking in the damage department, but being teamed up with Tager certainly fixes that problem for Waldstein, as he's a bit more of a, multi-mix grappler with lower damage. He helps with that, he really does. Setting up a combo and then tagging it to Tager and make health bars disappear was the bread and butter for these two. One strength these two had over every other team was that they were tanky. Having the highest health pool in the game made it very difficult to kill this team. It was impossible to TOD these guys, even in a happy birthday. And like mentioned before, Waldstein assists allows Tager to do so much, like making Sledge safe on block to get in and represent some nasty mixes. But you know what was really interesting about these two? This was one of the main reasons why you ran this team. Both of their combos did a lot of damage. However, what they both did when they were done with their combo was leave the opponent in a restand scenario, both with Gadget Finger and one where he just goes like, meh, get up. Mix this with an active tag, this becomes disgusting. When you have an assist out and doing an active tag, when you're doing the reset with one of them, the other one you tag into, it's just like that. You could continue the combo, or you could do a strike throw 50-50, making this a deadly duo, because just like that, the restands were now opportunities for bigger damage pools. Creating sandwiches is another way to go, that's for sure, making these two an absolute hell of a team to block against. You're not defending this. You're not. It's impossible. But there were two huge problems about running this team together, and this could hold you back. One problem, they're both tall, making high-low fuzzies insanely easy on these characters, and of course whip punishing them way easier as they have a fat hurt box. Second, they struggle against zoners, so anybody who's running a zoner team for whatever reason can really bully these two. They both have answers to it, of course. Waldstein with standing C or 236B is very good. However, he doesn't have full screen answer, so if he's put the full screen with the zoning, he has to try and get in afterwards and then represent those options. And with Tager, he needed a bar meter to answer these options with Spark Bolt. They kind of cover each other with assists, but until that point they just have to hold it a lot of the time. These are two huge problems for these guys, and not to mention that they're both grapplers, meaning when they go for their 50-50 and they're wrong, they're committal, and then it leads to so much punishment. You're going to take so much damage if you whiff a throw in these two. And this leads into the next big question. Who in the hell would run two grapplers on the same team and do well in tournament? kofi was the name of the madman scientist that tried to make these two working. You want to know something? He did. He almost made the weaknesses look non-existent, covering each other perfectly with the assists and all that type of setup. They were just nasty when put together. These two, in theory, should be one of the worst teams to run in the game, but kofi took his love for grapplers and made it work on another level. Not only taking 4th place at a huge EVO event during 2018, but able to take multiple high placements in this game shows the grappler duo, it's not a bad team. It's actually pretty deadly. But that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was fun covering this deadly duo, these tag grapplers. You don't see it often, you really don't. You don't see two grapplers working in tandem with each other in the manner that these two. I feel like this is the best duo I've ever seen for grapplers. But yeah, the heavyweight team, the deadly claws, whatever the hell you want to call them, were a spectacle to watch, and kofi really did so much with this team. It was so fun to watch him. If you guys want to try out BBTAG, I recommend running this team if you're a big fan of grapplers like you have been on the channel. And if you guys want to show some love, be sure to do so. Be sure to like, hype, sub, and tell me what you thought about this team and what other grapplers should I cover for grab. You know what? For the Grappler Church, this is going to be a fun one. We've got 2 editions, that's for sure. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Show me what you've got. We do this together.